listening to the Straight to Video Podcast with Rob Lane.
Hey, what is going on? How you doing? Hope you're well, and thank you so much for checking out my Straight to Video podcast. Episode 296, no less, and just a few shows away from the big 300. The podcast itself is 4 years old now, which is crazy, but I'm really looking forward to hitting that milestone show in just a few weeks and hope you'll join me for it. Right now, though, on today's episode, I get to welcome back one of my favorite people, an incredible guitarist, songwriter, magician, podcaster, and one of the funniest people I've ever met, Mr. Johnny Monaco, is on today's show. Johnny was one of the very first guests I had on the podcast, but as he's got a brand new solo album just released called She Said She Found Her Soulmate, which you can pick up from johnnymonaco.com, I thought it was about time we checked back in. Now, a lot has changed since he was last on the show. He's now a member of Stephen Pearcy of RATT's solo band, and he's living out in Las Vegas, which is a far cry from his hometown of Chicago, Illinois. We chat all about this in a pretty random, bounce all over the place episode, but it's a real fun one and always great to check in with Monaco. As always, this Straight to Video podcast is proudly presented to you in association with Affinity Photo. Affinity Photo is an incredible piece of photo editing software, which I've been using for graphic design the past couple of years. It's used to create the podcast episode art where you see each week with the really cool video covers, and it's an extremely affordable alternative to other programs on the market, so please check them out at affinity.serif.com. Okay, let's do this. As mentioned, the new Johnny Monaco solo album, She Said She Found Her Soulmate, is out now and available direct from Johnny at johnnymonaco.com. Or if you're in the US and can make it out to one of his shows with Stephen Pearcy, make sure to go say hello, and I'm sure he'll have some copies with him. Before we dive in, if you wonder what we're chatting about from the start, then Johnny is wearing a really cool Stay Gold Pony Boy shirt from his recent trip to the iconic Outsiders house, which was used in the classic movie. I'd love to go there one day. But anyways, please enjoy my straight to video chat with the awesome Johnny Monaco.
Do you think I should wear my hat?
I think you look great. I love that t-shirt.
I figured you'd like that. I went to that place, to the house.
I saw your photographs.
Yeah, the guy gave them to us. He's from a House of Pain, you know. Pop it in, pack it in, let me begin. He's the owner, and his worker or wife or whatever, she was behind the counter, and he knew we were in the band. He was very nice, tall guy, greeted everybody. He's like, look, I got to get going, but she's going to take care of you. So he make sure they all get shirts, you know, so we get to pick the one we want. I picked this one.
It's awesome, man. I love it. So how are you?
Good to see you again. It's been a minute.
It has, mate. You know what? I've spoke to you since, but it's been 4 years since you've been on the podcast.
Oh, the technology. When we did it, they had the tape machines. Warmed it up a little bit. 4
years since you've last been on the show. A lot's happened in that time. You were still back out in Chicago then, but now you've been living out in Vegas for a few years, and since 2022, been playing with Stephen Pearcy of RATT, touring all over the USA and staying mega busy. First up, how has Vegas been for Johnny Monaco since moving out there in 2021? Are you finally settled?
No. It's like getting used to moving to the sun.
Is it a total contrast to Chicago?
Well, you know, Las Vegas is, it's a place where if you could find all the crazy people all over the entire map, mostly in the Midwest, and then people with the most problems, and then move them all to one place and then bring their children, you know, because they think they're going to find something better. It's going to be a better life. But as, you know, we find with people, their problems follow them. So they're just waiting to explode again. And then they do. And then add drinking, horrible driving, and 115 degrees. What do you think's going to happen? I'm surrounded by lunatics, gun-toting lunatics with beards who are, I'm going to make a better life. I got a great idea. They won't accept me in my town, so I'm going to move to Las Vegas. I got this great idea.
Are they all entrepreneurs?
That's exactly what the town is all about. They were shunned in their own town, pitchforked out of town. By town, I mean, you know, probably a couple million people. But it's not those people. You know, it's their fault. It's not my fault. I got a great idea. I just need some encouragement and a starting place. So they moved to Las Vegas to start up their new business, which I'm going to take a roller skate and some peanut butter and jelly. I'm going to put them together. And then when you put your foot into roller skate, yeah, and then somehow it works here. Right. If you got that new roller skate with the peanut butter, it's fantastic. You know, just up until their house gets repossessed. Yeah. And then they're on the news. because, UNLV's on fire.
Oh, man.
It could just be me. Some people really like it here.
You must have played it many, many times over the years with Enough's Enough. Had you have a vacation there growing up?
It was a lot different when the Italians were running things. I've been here before back in the day, and I've come in and out a couple of times. I did have a vacation once. It ended poorly. I had to tell Scott Coogan I couldn't stay at his house anymore because we had a falling out. But it's okay because I wrote a long letter on a napkin. So when he got back from the Ace Frehley tour, here's the key. I was innocent. But I have been here before in the past, and Mike Zuder, plays around town a lot. He plays guitar. He's like, why don't you come here? I'll get a lot of work for you. So I kind of came here to just get better on guitar and to take the challenge because All Request Live is a tricky gig, and I thought it would help me get better on guitar.
Do you have any particular favorite areas out there, or is it constant chaos? So when you're back from gigs, you just hole up in your apartment. I'm not leaving.
I don't know that I have any favorite places. Outside of Vegas is my favorite place.
Who've been some of the most interesting characters you've met the past couple of years, either in Vegas or in the actual building?
It's nonstop. I kind of like that part. Whereas where I'm from, and for most people in their hometown, you don't meet too many interesting people and you meet the same type of person. Here, you're constantly meeting someone who, you're like, this guy looks homeless, and then he gets into a Ferrari, or this girl looks kind of normal, and then she's not. So it's like continual supply of that. You're meeting interesting people. You're meeting people from all over the place. They all come here. So in that respect, it is a good hub and a good place to network and to meet people. And the people you're meeting, some of them can be okay because they're from other places like where I'm from and stuff, and you can meet them. But for the most part, they're here for a reason. It's like going to an AA meeting or something like that. They appear normal, but they're there for a reason.
Do different hotels bring different people?
The casinos do attract a certain type of person, and it's all the same lizard. Every time I walk out there, I look at the pool, and I see the same people. They're skipping the workout, and they're just laying at the pool, baking with a belly, and they just lay there in the water. And then the girls walk around in their thongs, regardless of their shape. And the children are screaming, and they're having a good time. And I'm like, ugh.
Where are you staying? Is it like a holiday place as well?
It's a condominium where everyone owns their own individual unit. But it is kind of have a hotel vibe. There's like a lobby, and there's people like, when I get a package, they got to like, Mr. Monaco, your package is here. All right. Can't they just use the Amazon alert and come down when it's ready? They got to call you. It's like a 3-step process. And there's a fancy looking lobby, and they send me emails every week about what they're fixing in the building and who's fixing it and how they're doing it.
Are you part of the community? I bet they've got meetings and stuff, haven't they?
Yeah, I have been invited to those, and I told them 3 times, you don't want me there. I don't need to be involved to understand why the elevator isn't working. I mean, it's mainly for the owners of these places. I don't own this place. Could buy it if I was really forced into it, but I'm just waiting for this whole place to implode. So I don't want to think I should buy anything right now.
How far are you from the Strip? Are you on the Strip?
Yeah, I live on the Strip. Yeah, I'm on the South Strip. So away from all the casinos, but on Las Vegas Boulevard. I'm like kind of in the Gold Coast of Vegas. It's like a triangle, like where I am, airport, Strip. So I'm like 7 minutes from everything. And I did that sort of on purpose, but I accidentally found a decent place because if you live too far out where it's actually a little more normal, it's too far to go back and forth.
I love how things, I'm going to say it's come full circle for you, landing the job in Stephen's Bank. A few years ago, you'd flown out to LA to audition for what was RATT at the time. Was that your first encounter with Stephen, or had you met him over the years?
No, I had never met him before. And they had this manager at the time, must have got my number from somebody. He said, they're looking for a guitar player. Can you fly out? So I had to, fly out with a 2-day notice on my own dime and get to the airport. And I had a friend pick me up that lived there. Drummer Casey, he was in Nitro for a while. He picked me up and drove me to Juan's house, played like 5 or 6 songs. I thought it went pretty good. He's like, sounded great. Take a picture of that set list. A big set list on the wall. I'm like, wow, this is working out. It's like, you play really good. And while I was playing, I didn't bring a lot of gear. I just brought 2 guitars because they had drop D and delay pedal. And he goes, oh, what would you do if I took that pedal down there and threw it down that hill? If you look outside, it was like a hill and an ocean. I go, I don't know. I'd probably go get it. And then I'm like, all right. So yes, I did the audition and they said it was really great and you're going to hear back from us and we'll let you know. And I never heard back.
You never hear back. How many years ago was that?
Could it be 5 years?
Yeah, it's
maybe?
Probably getting up there, yeah.
Yeah.
So did he remember you from the original audition when you came back for the solo band?
No. He didn't remember me the last time we played together. 3 weeks ago. Who's that? Hey. I remember when we first started playing together and they gave him my number, he put it in his phone, John Guitar.
He's probably got a list of them. Like,
I think he knows who I am now, only because I have to approach him like how you would approach, like, hey. No, he's great. I'm kidding. But he totally knows I'm involved in some capacity. I think he thinks I'm the drummer. I think we're on board now.
couple of years in, you're on board.
Pretty sure he doesn't think I'm in Great White anymore.
You'd spent a short time in LA Guns. You did some US shows and going to Australia. You said it didn't fit your style. So was Warren DeMartini's playing more of what you were into?
Well, yeah. I mean, coming up as a guitar player, you can't not appreciate Warren DeMartini and love those solos. I mean, I was playing that stuff when I was in 8th grade.
Yeah.
Probably playing it wrong, but I was still playing it. And he was one of my biggest, I loved his guitar playing, and Randy Rhoads and Eddie Van Halen. He was in the three because of his vibrato and just the way he played. And of course, the songs. But that was a while ago. I hadn't played that stuff in a long, long time. But he was one of my favorites, from Chicago, I think, too. So
cool.
Kind of interesting. I'm not saying we look a lot alike, but there's some similarities I've noticed. But of course, his guitar playing, is the best.
How do you approach learning solos, especially like diving back into them after such a long time?
Yeah. I just go on YouTube. I find the youngest kid that can play them perfectly, and then I just watch that. No.
That's what I do.
Sometimes I do that, actually.
Yeah, just as a bit of a backup.
Yeah, just to make sure I'm absolutely doing it right. I'm like, well, this kid's 16 and he's from Russia, so he's got it down pretty good. I don't want to sit there and learn tabs. I'll just watch him because, they're doing everything better over there, except world peace. But sometimes I'll just listen to it and I'll just sit here and listen. And just like I used to do back when we had cassette tapes. Remember those? Except now it's harder because I can't get anything to work. Just plug this in and turn this on and this isn't working and a hard drive, blah. So I'll just sit there and listen to the parts and slow them down a little bit and just go over them until I think they're close. And then I'll watch DeMartini playing the way he did it. And then I'll watch the next guy play it the way he did it. And then the other guy. And I'll try to find a happy medium because I'm not playing them perfectly. I'm trying to get as close as I can. And I'm just trying not to embarrass myself. But I'll try to get it close. And I don't like to do too much of my own stuff. Like I will put some parts in if it's like an extended solo or if it's an improvised part. But I try to play the parts as close as I can because that's the way they should be played, I think. They sound the best. Why am I going to play my own stuff?
That's an approach you've always took from Zinuff, learning Derek's parts. You've always focused in to make it as accurate to the record as you can live, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, I try to get it like as close as I can. I just think it sounds the best that way. And there's no sense in me changing anything. Those are like iconic solos. What are you going to change the solo around and round? How are you going to do that?
Had you ever seen RATT live back in the day growing up?
A friend of mine from back in the day reminded me that we went on a date and it was at the RATT concert in Chicago. It was the first time we ever saw him. I don't even know how long ago that had to be, like 30 something years ago. I didn't remember. So I guess I had seen them. I didn't remember that. I'm not a big concert goer. I mean, I'll go to some stuff, but I probably went because I wanted to see Warren DeMartini play guitar. Because back then, there was no YouTube and stuff. Either get bootlegs or go to the concert. It's not like now.
Was your first show with Stephen? Was that the M3 Festival?
Yeah. It was a last minute thing. I got a call. Can you play tomorrow? And these are the songs. And I'm like, well, I haven't heard these songs in a long time, but I could certainly try. I think I could do it.
It was that out of the blue, was it?
Yeah, I had to be there the next day. I got a call at like 3 p.m. and I had to be there the next day at that time. So I just kind of like went over stuff and got as close as I could. It wasn't really great. And then I went there and it was cold and rainy. It's always rainy there in Fairweather Park. Very ironic. But I was last minute. I filled in because the guy that was on the road with him at the time got sick. And so I just went out there and did my best. And we just played again, like a month ago. So that time later, that was my first time. And this was my, whatever, how many years it's been. I think this will be 3 summers.
Are there ever any bands you look forward to seeing at them things?
No.
No, there is. There's got to be. Who still brings it for you live?
You never know what you're going to get. They're always different band. It's not like...
Yeah.
I don't remember who played on this last one. But for a lot of times, I've seen these bands because we play with them a lot. Like Quiet Riot and bands like that. I see them all the time. So, they're fairly friendly with me. So I get to see these bands, but I haven't seen like Cheap Trick live or anyone like that. And me, I like the pop stuff. So it's not that I don't like the other bands. I'm always kind of focused on what I'm doing and I'm warming up or I'm just kind of removed until I come out and then I forget everything I just practiced.
What's the reaction from the fan base these days? I mean, 'cause you've got a really good online presence as well, but this style of music, it's always weird about whether people pay attention to who's in the band these days and all that kind of stuff. Have you noticed people coming up to speak to you?
Yeah, more lately. They want me to sign stuff or they just have seen podcasts, things, or maybe posts that I've had over the years. Once in a while, I'll get someone that will come out just to tell me how much they don't like me. But usually that's just in my band. No, but they're fine. Yeah, they come out, they buy stuff, or they've bought something in the past and they want me to sign it or something like that. So that's cool. Yeah.
Back when you were in Enough's Enough, you got to go out on the Glam Slam Metal Jam in 2001 with Poison, Quiet Riot, and Warrant. I don't know how you remember that time. That was like a real in limbo time for hard rock. Did that tour manage to hit a sweet spot and still bring big crowds?
Well, at the time, we were just lucky to get on that one because there was a lot of big bands. I mean, Quiet Riot, the original Quiet Riot with Kevin Dubrow, right? Warrant with Janie Lane.
Did you have many run-ins with Janie?
I think I did. Like, I don't think we were like super tight or anything. I don't think we really hung out. I mean, I'm sure I've met him a couple times. I was kind of new at the time too, and wasn't really my place to speak to the upper echelon. Still isn't, evidently. And so we didn't really hang out with him. But from what I remember, yeah, he was great. And he sounded great. And that was a good lineup. Yeah, it went over good at the time. It was a slightly different time, but it was still, there's always been this, need and want for this type of music. It's kind of come back around so much so that it's like very popular and niche now to like it. I see young kids come out like 16 and they're like hardcore.
And they know their shit as well.
Yeah, very hardcore. They love all the 80s bands. They love the style, the look. I blame their parents. But they're really into it. They dress like it. I mean, you put a young girl in front of these old men that dress like someone that they used to date, you control yourself. Not me, but I'm just saying in general, I could see it. They should wear wristbands and chastity belts. But they look good. They look like what we remember from the 80s, except they're children kind of. So when you speak to them, you're speaking a different language. Everything slays, and you speak to them and you don't understand half the words.
I mean, that music's never been in fashion over here in the UK. But I mean, speaking of the UK, you've been coming over here regularly with Enough's Enough since 1996. I think on your first tour, you played some classic, long since lost venues, Bradford Rios and Dudley JBs. Do you remember much about those first trips over with the band? What did you expect before coming over, or what you thought it would be like?
I didn't know what to expect. I thought it was going to be like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang or Oliver. It was kind of like Oliver when it was in LA Guns, but we weren't in England. But I didn't know what to expect. But then, from going there so many times, I mean, I loved going there. Every time I would go there, I would get sick. Remember?
Yeah.
I get a cold because, I don't understand the radiator situation and the breakfast stuff and the beds. It was rough. But I think you really get to learn how to live like an Englishman when you go on tour there. You really got to struggle. Maybe not so much anymore. I know they have electricity now. But when we went, it was candles, whisks, brooms. They don't put the butter in the refrigerator. There's tomatoes for breakfast. It's crazy out there. It's Armageddon. If you step out into the street, good chance you're going to get hit by a bus because who the heck looks this way? It's a different time. It's the medieval times out there. I mean, maybe not so much anymore because Doctor Who has really brought that country forward. We don't have robots. And when we do, they don't have a nice English accent because I can listen to you people speak all day. And by you people, I mean chimney sweeps. But I do love what we grew up on is what you don't look at as that. That's not English. I hear like, raw. In this life, one thing counts in the bank, large amounts. I think of that. And I think of flying cars.
Where was you seeing all that? Where was you seeing all this? Just like old movies?
Here, when I was growing up, that's what they played here. The old Doctor Who's, Chitty Chitty Bang Bangs, the Oliver. Now I realize that's old school. That's like Cockney slang and apples and pears. And
what about the young ones? That was big on MTV, wasn't it?
That's right. Yes. That was another one I used to watch. And I thought that's what it was like. And I wasn't too far off. I mean, when you go there, it's like whenever you see a documentary on Ozzy or something where they show like the streets and smokestacks and it's cold and their steaks are this big and they're eating the dinners and, depravity. That's what I thought it was. But, it was like that at Camden Underground. Our rider was built on water and napkins. I know it's different now. It's very modern there.
You see, we're copying off you guys. We're like about 20 years behind.
I don't know if it's that. I don't think we're leading anything. I think if anyone's looking to the future, it's like Europe and the Asian countries. I order some stuff from Temu. I can't believe it. The deals they give you. We're a Temu family now. I almost ordered a couch. They got stuff. They zip it right to you for free. I ordered something for $1.50 and they didn't even charge me for shipping.
What's been your biggest bargain from Temu? They do good guitar equipment.
No, I don't need any guitar stuff. I could barely play that thing. I don't need anything more. I bought a mixing bowl the other day for $1.30. Big silver one. Got here in like 3 days, no shipping. I bought 100 mailers for CDs for $9. Sure, it's hard to get the CD in, but it'll work. But this thing where it's like an umbrella, you open it up and then it covers the windshield so the sun doesn't come in. $1.50. The only reason I did it was because Pearcy's like, I don't want you to wear any more t-shirts on stage. I want you to dress up a little bit. Wear a jacket. Come on, look presentable. All right. He's wearing cut-off sleeves. Don't worry about it. I want you. I'm like, all right. So I look at my closet. I'm like, I don't have anything like that. It's all bathrobes and tank tops. So I went on Temu because I can't find shirts that fit me because, America has grown exponentially. So I have to find something slender. And even the smallest is still going to fit like the fattest small guy. So I need really small. So Temu has Asian extra small, which is like about right for me. So I'm looking at all these shirts and they're all like kind of 80s looking and prints and cool. And they're $9. Like, it can't be $9. These are like $50, $60 shirts in the stores here, maybe more. And they're not going to fit me. So I just found a bunch of cool looking ones, free shipping. So that probably is my best buy. I bought like 4 or 5 shirts, tried to put together a 80s looking outfit. And then I put it together with the leather pants that I got from them for $22. I put it all together and I'm looking in the mirror. And I'm like, all right, this looks like sticks or something. And then I got this big red guitar in the middle. I'm like, this ain't going to work with this thing. So I got a Charvel because it's a little more toned down. It fits the outfit. So now they could just say, bring out that guitar player. Thank you.
You see, that's the entrepreneurial thing you need to do in Vegas. Ship everything to Temu and then go and sell it in Vegas. All the clothes. Set up the Johnny Monaco. DJ Ashbar's got his own clothing shop in one of the hotels, or he did have. You have one in the lobby.
They had to close the entire casino. His water line put the whole store out of business. They found out later that you could just get water right out of the fountain. There's water in my toilet. Why am I spending so much for this expensive water? Well, have you not heard of 6 a.m.? Yeah. What time is it? 700 hours. I don't know. Maybe that's a good idea, though. Have them print it and then ship them. I'm going to look into that. That's a great idea. I have never even thought of that. Because shipping kills you. Shipping is where they get you.
Tie it in with the luggage line, which you've got.
Well, that place gives you free shipping, but I had a problem with my last order and they blamed me for it. And I've made so many orders from that place. I know what I'm doing. And they kind of did something with the quality and they kind of cut off something. And I tried to explain it to them. So I'm probably going to sue them.
I mean, for people who don't know, you got your own luggage line where people can have custom luggage. What's been the most random request so far on that?
Well, usually I do my own thing. Mark Torian insisted his face be on the luggage 100 times. No, just kidding. I've had several orders that people say, we love what you're doing. Just, go ahead and do your thing. Some people request specific pieces. And the last friend of mine, he requested me playing one of the guitars that I bought from him because he's a guitar dealer. The other one was me on the treadmill because I'm trying to get in shape for summer. I guess that one, me on the treadmill, is a pretty good one. I can't remember. They're on my website. If you go to my store, there's a drop down for suitcases. You could see all the orders of everyone that's bought. You could see what they asked for and then the reply to what they got. Everyone seemed to be very happy. I know one guy who's not very happy that his face is on a suitcase, but that's his fault. I saw that face and I'm like, that face belongs on a suitcase. And that's how it all started.
I just opened the floodgates.
Yeah. Well, that was the initial launch. I still have that one for sale. It's very expensive if you want to buy it because it's a one of a kind.
So do you think Stephen would ever bring the band over to the UK? He came over with RATT in the mid-2000s, so it's not totally unheard of.
Yeah, I think he would like to go. I don't know why we haven't gone there yet. I think it just has to do with the booking agent. And I don't know if he books like out of the country or not. Maybe we need another agent that does specifically that. I'm not too involved in that part. I just deal with Uber drivers and making sure the strings are on the guitar. That's where I come in.
Mate, it'd be great to see you back over here again.
I really do like coming out there. England's different. It's very, very romantic to me. It's very interesting. It's very old, like historic. You don't see that kind of stuff here. You don't find anything in Vegas like old like that or historic or has any kind of meaning or is like kind of depth to it. So when you see that culture and you see all that, it's very interesting. And it can almost make you want to like get up and move. Like, I'm just going to move there. It can be challenging. I think it's fairly expensive. It's expensive everywhere. It keeps getting much worse. I'm going to have to join 2 bands. I have to moonlight. I'm going to have to play guitar in Stephen Pearcy's band and sing in Vixen. I sent in my audition tape. I knew I should have shaved before the audition, but still, I was hitting all the high notes.
You got some gigs with Vixen coming up?
Yeah, I think so. They're very nice. We see them all the time. I'm friends with Britt.
Do you know Tyson, who plays keyboards?
Yeah, he's a nice guy. We played some shows with him before. He plays with everybody. He's like a Asian Mozart.
He put up a video the other day. He was like playing keyboards and doing the bass at the same time.
Does stuff like upside down. Call somebody in a pinch. He just comes out. He's like, you can play anything. He's the go-to keyboard guy. Him and Liberace, they cover the whole circuit.
When we first toured together in 2007, you had your solo album Overrated out, and right now you've got your brand new album. She said she found her soulmate. I think 10 years since your EP, LA Vacation. How have you found it releasing a new album? The playing field has well and truly changed the past few years to do something like that. How's it been for you this time round?
I've been waiting to put this out for a while. It's my fault. I kind of just been working on it for so long. Then I stopped and I went back, then I did stuff. And I should have put this out 5-6 years ago when it was written. But I just wanted to finally get it out. And I had a chance now since I'm here and I have my stuff set up because I was like moving around a lot for a while. And I tried to record in my car, but can't really belt them out when you're sitting in a car seat. You get a hernia. And also it was like 30 degrees out. So I finally got it finished and put it out. It's doing well. People seem to like it. I'm just glad the songs are out and I can continue. But I just need to buy another computer if I want to continue because my computer is very old.
Recording this new album, it just totally killed it, did it?
I think so, yes.
It's that enough of all the different mixes and versions.
Yeah, springs coming out of it, smoke. It was like the end of Amadeus. He finished it and then he collapsed.
You're doing it all on your own this time. People are ordering direct from you. Have they been going all over the country?
Yeah, all over. Also out of the country.
People are paying that international postage.
Yeah, well, it's not a lot of people, but I mean, it's like $17 to ship it to UK. It's not bad. And Singapore, Australia, I want to say Germany and Norway. People now like so many different genres. You have many choices on what to buy. And, you know, not everybody has a CD player anymore. I'm aware of that. There's not CD players in cars. So I think they wanted just to have something like a souvenir maybe. And it's the same thing with records. Who's a record player? And if they do, it's not a great one. There's some people that are audiophile people that have the killer setup and they're really into it. But most people, they buy these as souvenirs.
Buying from Urban Outfitters, the record players.
That's right. To get the good ones, you got to spend a lot. To get a good setup with speakers and a power amp and all that, you got to spend, I don't know, $10,000, maybe more. Car's worth like $1,000.
I think it's great the album's finally out there, though. Do you think you could be persuaded to do some more live solo stuff, or is it come down to band members?
Oh, I would love to put a band together. And if I lived in your town, we would be playing together right now. And we could tour around like we did that one time. Remember that guy with the shopping cart? But I would love to put a band together. And I'm actually trying to do that right now. I have a bass player and a drummer that are working on some stuff and we get together. But I've tried this over and over with so many people. And they tell you, it's like, I got it. I'm working on it. And then you get together and they don't got it. If you ever want to get together with somebody, Craigslist is not your friend. Every crazy person that wants to put a band together. So I go on Craigslist just because I figure just get it out there. There's got to be someone like-minded that's going to see it. And once in a while, you'll find somebody, you'll meet them like, okay, he seems pretty good. And then a week later, you're, wondering if this guy drinks out of a skull. And also, the type of music I'm playing, the person can't just listen to it and go just like the whole time. And like, that's kind of these guys out here. They're jobbers, they could play the same thing through all the songs. Nobody cares. But my stuff's got parts. Here's the chorus. Here's the, the pre-chorus. Here's the verse. Here's the intro part. Here's the outro. There's like 4 beats. It's not that difficult, but they don't want to put in the time, or they feel that I won't know the difference, or maybe they feel this is the way they want to do it. And if it's great, then fine. You don't need to do it the way I wrote it, but that's generally not the case. And they're looking at me and they don't know where the parts are. And I'm just like, why are we even doing this here? I want my $15 back for the room I just rented.
Where do you rehearse in Vegas?
I go to this one place, the really good room, tight, small. They got all the amps, the drums and everything. It's like $15. Go in there, bash it out, see how it sounds. If it's good, go home, learn to rest. We'll come back. I don't sit in a room for months at a time. I used to do that. You should just be able to learn the parts and show up. I mean, that's what this town's about, right? Jobber type guys. But either they're too busy or they don't want to play original music because there's no money. You got to play covers. You have to play the same covers at the same places for different people every night. And a lot of times it's outside, which is super hot, or it's freezing cold, or you're in a casino with smoke and drunks and sometimes children, because evidently people can bring kids to casinos now and they're okay with it. They're sitting there at the slot machine, smoking, drinking beer. Their kids running in circles, picking his nose, screaming. And I'm looking at it like, put something together with this kid, put a muzzle on him. And they look at him, he's fine. I got to play Bon Jovi songs for these idiots. This guy's pretty good. Oh, thanks. You guys, My friend's got to leave. Can you play Small Town Girl?
How long's it been since you've been back to Chicago?
Yeah, I was there recently. I went there a couple months ago because I had to have a tooth fixed. And then I went there and saw my mom. And, when I'm in town playing, I'm usually in and out, so I can't really stay. But sometimes I'll try to get there a day early or a couple days early and stay.
Who's in the old house now, do you know?
No, but I have dreams about that. I wanted to go there and knock on their door and just say, hey, I used to live here. I'd like to walk around your house, see what you did with the place. I don't know that they let people do that anymore. I mean, they might.
You'd have to show them loads of photos to certify it.
I could tell you some stories. Let me tell you about the refrigerator that was going bad for a year that I had to listen to on the other side of the wall when I lived in the studio. I had a studio down there. That's probably a child's playroom. They probably just turned it into who knows, some kind of eyes wide shut sex torture room. I don't know what they've turned it into, but it would be good for any of that stuff. It was very soundproof.
Right, I want you to go back to Chicago on a Friday night in the late 80s or early 90s, and you head into the video store there. I don't know where your local one was back then. I don't know if you remember or not. But what movie soundtrack do you have on your Walkman? Head into the store, and what 3 tapes are you going to rent for the weekend?
Well, I'm a little different in that respect. I don't know that I was listening to a lot of movie soundtracks at the time. In the late 80s, I was listening to like Queensryche and Yngwie and stuff like Guitar Player, like Randy Rhoads. So all my stuff were bootlegs. I mean, at the time, all the popular movies, all the ones that were famous at the time, I didn't really understand till later, till as more of an adult. So I don't know that I would have one soundtrack to one movie, but I guess at that time I was still listening to like 70s soundtracks. But I would think that the Blockbuster that I used to go to when I would go and rent movies all the time, it would either have to be like a Jackie Chan movie or a Bruce Lee movie or Faces of Death.
Who introduced you to all the martial arts stuff?
Well, me and my friend Ron used to really be into it. And we used to get on the subway and go all the way downtown to like the shifty neighborhoods and sneak in at the McVickers and watch all the Kung Fu movies because they would run them all day. And there'd be all drunks and prostitutes and weird people in there. We would just sit in there and watch them all day because you couldn't see them anywhere else. And then we'd come back and then I would try to remember what we did. And I would like draw patterns and I would like try to like learn the steps like Drunken Master and all the Kung Fu movies, Snake and Crane and all the different styles. And I would try to remember what they did and practice it in my garage. And then eventually I started teaching that kind of stuff at Cobra Kai, which is, I know it's from the movie, but there was a place actually called Cobra Kai. They were teaching Kung Fu to, people in the suburbs. So I eventually started training that way, but used to go down there all the time. So it was either Kung Fu movies or guitar instructional stuff. I wasn't a normal person who the movie would come out and I would go and see that movie. I mean, Jaws was big. There was a movie called Bug where the bugs, attack the town on the phone. She puts a phone to the ear. And it's like burning her ear. I would have my Aunt Marge take me to see these movies in the theaters. Where the Buffalo Roam, that was a big one. And she's like, I don't understand this movie you made me come to. Bill Murray. It's a crazy movie. The Warriors and stuff like that. I was really into even now, it's still like that, I guess. And it's ironic because if you go to my Aunt Marge's basement, I have boxes, long wardrobe boxes, not even little ones, like long ones, filled 3 rows with VHSs. And the thing is, most of them were me taping them off the TV. That's My Mama, stuff like that.
There's a market for that, people love them for all the commercials and all the little intros and things.
I have all of that. And I think I threw out a lot of them, like literally in the garbage because they were on me. They're like, you got to get rid of these. But I know that I have a lot. And I have like bootlegs and vintage stuff and things from Japan. There was a place called Aries, a famous bootleg place in Japan. And they let us just go in there and take whatever we wanted. So I brought back a bunch of Wooly John Roth videos and Yngwie.
Was that on one of your first tours?
Yes, 96, I think. So I do have a lot of VHS. I wish I didn't throw them out now that we're talking about it. But I mean, I have all the Simpsons like labeled. I was crazy with that. And I had 2 VHS. I would be watching one and then recording on another. And then I found a way to put them onto CD and transfer them. I used to bump the audio up and clean them up. I don't know, man. I don't even have a recorder anymore.
Have you got any old recordings of you playing when you first started?
Yeah, I have all those. I don't know if when I first started, because that goes back to actually film. But we do have the projector, and I do have the actual film containers, 2 shoe boxes full of those. But to transfer that, you have to send them out, and it's like a lot, like $100 and something for one. So it's like going to be a couple grand to do all of them. But I'm sure that those tapes have all that. Back in the day, you have an old projector. We have the old projector. You turn the thing, you kind of goes like this, kind of angle it up like a stalk, and then you put it through, you wheel it through. There's a light. Got to pull up the screen. It sparkles on the outside. You turn it and you pull it up and you watch it. I still have all that in the basement, I hope.
Monaco movie night one night. We'll get the old projector out.
Yeah, they sort of do that now. The kids try to do that, but it's not as good.
Man, there'd be some gold in them recordings.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that I can't believe they didn't transfer them yet. Like someone else didn't do it in my family, but I have them. I specifically said, why are these here? I took them out of the basement because, it's cold down there. And I put them in one of the rooms in my aunt's house, like up in a shelf, and I covered them. So I know they're there.
Favorite martial arts movie then? What's your go-to?
Well, got to go with Enter the Dragon. Although Return of the Dragon, Chinese Connection, same thing. That's a great one. But then once you get past Bruce Lee, you got to go immediately to Jackie Chan. But pre-'80s, we're talking, you were saying 85 to early 90s. He was already a cop by then and doing stuff. I'm talking when he was young and he was doing like Snake and Crane and Drunken Style, Drunken Master. Drunken Master's epic. The moves that he was doing in those and the way he's choreographed it, he's just that guy, man. And he's still, at his age, really good. I get out of bed. I'm like, ugh, he's like great. So I used to watch those. So either Game of Death actually wasn't one of my favorites because it was very chopped up. He only was in it for a short time. But, you got to go with Enter the Dragon, Return of the Dragon, Big Boss, Fist of Fury. I mean, I think everybody would say those are the ones.
Excellent. So what's the next few days got in store for you? When you next out again?
Well, I am in kind of practice mode because we had a little bit of a break here in June, my birthday month. So Stephen's like, take the month off. So I took the month for some reason. We didn't have any shows and I didn't have anything lined up. I mean, it's bananas. So I didn't play that much in June, like hardly anything. So I put my CD out and I've been selling like, CDs and guitar picks and just trying to scrape up some business. Did a couple other things that I'm not too proud of. So right now I'm practicing because we're leaving Thursday to go to Michigan. So we're leaving on the 4th of July, which is always fun because I've always wanted to fly a plane through Armageddon and then go to Michigan, which I'm a big fan of Michigan because it reminds me of the Midwest. It's a big fest. There's a lot of bands playing. It's not just us. It's probably going to be awesome. And that'll be on the 5th. And then I'll be back because I have to get my car fixed. I can't get out of the driver's side. So I've been doing like Dukes of Hazzard. I got to get in the car Dukes of Hazzard style for 2 months because my mechanic was in jail.
Go figure.
Driving around with my car parts. He's like, I have your part. It's in my car. Don't worry about it. I'm like, just fix this. So I'm going to the post office everywhere. I've got to get out the other side. Everyone's looking. They're like side-eyeing me. They think I'm like breaking into the car. The car's worth like $1,000. So I got to come back on Saturday and fix my car. And then Sunday, day of rest, me and Trapper. Then after July, it starts to pick up a lot. And then there's like, I think 25 shows, 30 shows till December. So I hope I'll be fairly busy then and playing more regularly. Because when I stop for a month and I start doing other stuff, I lose a little bit. So I have to just like, I have to warm up a little bit.
You selling the new album at the gigs?
Yeah, I'll have CDs and picks. I usually do pretty good at the shows, but it's the shipping, going back and forth and, organizing everyone and making sure I send the right person that and getting their address from there to the package and then to there. I mean, tracking and then sending it to them. It's a lot of that. I could see why people have like the label do it, but I didn't think it would make that much difference if a label did it. I mean, they give you an upfront amount, but then you owe them like 3 albums and, you never see any of that.
Probably don't see any streaming money. Not that streaming money is much, but you probably don't even see a penny from it.
Yeah. I have about 4,500 streams so far on Spotify, and I don't know how many are on iTunes. And you think 4,500 sounds like a lot? It's not. You need like 100,000 or 10,000 to make like $20. And I'm pretty sure fixing my car is going to be more than $20.
Are you enjoying it though? Are you enjoying being out there?
Yeah. I like seeing different places. I mean, the traveling is a little hard for me. I know it sounds like, oh, you're just sitting there flying, big deal. Wonder Woman did it, but it hurts your back. Then I'm sitting next to someone. I'm constantly fighting for the armrest because evidently they don't understand that we're sharing this. Either go high or low or half and half. Don't do this. And I'm looking at this dummy. Oh, and then they're talking loud. What? Is it what? No, because yeah. No, I told him that. Right? And then their kids are running up and down the aisle, picking his nose, wiping it on everything. The people are the worst type of people. And that's the problem at the airport. And that's why the people that work there are so like uppity and so kind of mean. They have to dealing with those people. I try to make it as painless as possible. I do yes, no, yes. But you get to the point to where it's like you want to just go crazy. So it's the traveling. It's a little tricky. And some places are nicer than others. Lately, we've been getting some pretty good hotels. The Hard Rock hotels are really nice. They got all kinds of fancy stuff. They give you candy bars shaped like guitars. You got to watch it, though. You start eating that stuff too much, you'll get bloated. But some hotels, no. Some of them are still like when we were touring. Is that a spring or a raccoon?
I'm going to let you go. It's been nice to see you.
Okay, well, I don't know if this really accomplished anything. I'm sorry. Sorry we didn't talk about more serious stuff.
It'll all work out. Well, I hope the shows go great.
Thanks. Yeah.
Come and see us sometime, or I'll come out and see you.
I would love that. And if you're ever going to come here, you got a place to stay because there's a Hilton not too far from here. No, kidding. If you come here, we'll go to the store. I'll buy a couch and you can sleep on that.
We'll get one from Timo beforehand.
Yeah. Or if you want to feel it like at home, I'll just dig one out of the dumpster.
Big thanks, as always, to wonderful Johnny Monaco for chatting with me on today's Straight to Video podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. It's always great to see and hear from him. And I hope you'll go and listen to his new album, She Said She Found Her Soulmate, which is out now and available from johnnymonaco.com. So that's all for this week's episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. We'll come back next Friday for a brand new show. Till then, though, please make sure to always be kind. Please rewind and unwind, and I'll speak to you all real soon.